Welcome into the I-80 Boys College Football Show. We've got Army versus Notre Dame on tap this week, Chris. Hey, listen, this game's played at Yankee Stadium, all right? So hopefully, unlike the Yankees, we don't have a second-tier finish in this game. We have a great game, I hope. It's a little World Series reference for you there. Look, here's the thing. Army has the best rushing offense in the country, which is good because in order to win this game, they're going to need to do the following. They've got to control the clock and keep the ball out of Riley Leonard and Notre Dame's hands. They also need to contain Leonard and force him to throw the football. Look, I'm not going to sit here and say Riley Leonard hasn't played good at times this year, but I think Notre Dame fans would agree, and Chris will tell me a little more about it here in a second. They kind of expected him to throw it a little more and be a little better there. Notre Dame has been able to, and I'm not going to go off on a tangent on Notre Dame here, I'm getting ready to, but Notre Dame has benefited of not really having to play that many great teams this year and simply being able to lean on the run game and the offense, and a great defense. So we know Army, obviously that's a question they're going to ask is who is Army really played up till this point. I get that. But here's the thing. Army currently has the number 5 defense in the country. And I know the statement will be, well, who have they played? But, Army, if they can kind of keep Notre Dame from hitting some of those explosive plays and limit them on the ground, they've got a shot in this one. Easier said than done. I mean, we watched it with Navy. You would think Navy would have a chance there to beat Notre Dame a few weeks ago when they played. Notre Dame was able to just out-explosive them at times and, continue getting the turnovers there. If you have to have a shot, I'm going to say it one more time, control the clock. There's no reason why Army should snap that football when they have the ball on offense. They should not snap it with more than about 7 seconds to go. Let that thing run down. Let the motion kind of come, do your thing that you're going to do, play your game, be able to get 2 or 3 yards here, keep the clock moving. That's how they're going to have to win this game. Here's what I'll tell you there, Chris. Bryson Daly, he can throw a little, not the best thrower in the country, got 644 yards, 7 touchdowns. Guy has over 1,000 yards rushing and 21 touchdowns as of right now. He's got 28 total touchdowns on the year. Guy is a do-it-all guy back there for him. Very impressive as far as what I'm looking at with this Army Black Knight team. Chris, go ahead. Talk to me a little bit about Notre Dame.
Yeah, well, let's get into it here. Notre Dame, I got some things to say here, Christian. 9-1. I mean, the record obviously impressive. The only loss, as we all know, we point and laughed at was Northern Illinois months ago. They beat Virginia last week in 35-14, which nobody really cares, right? They did what they needed to do there. I'm going to start off with this. As I've said the past 10 years now with Notre Dame, man, they need to get in the conference or go join the group of 5, one of the two. The fact that they beat up on a bunch of deadbeat programs and service academies, just it's not the way it should be when you're Notre Dame, right? This is a historic program. I'm tired of talking about that part of it, but I got to bring it up. So let's talk about that offense and Riley Leonard, right? 38 points per game, 11th best in the nation. They're 47th in total offense, 12th in rushing offense, 98th in passing offense. Yes, they don't throw the ball a ton. They haven't needed to. And the Duke transfer, Riley Leonard, man, he's actually played pretty well. You dig through the stats. Believe it or not, Christian, he actually threw for 3 touchdowns last week against Virginia. I think that's a career high for him, to be honest. No knock on Riley Leonard. I like Riley Leonard. I think Christian does too. He's a tough kid. He's a winner. But yeah, he does struggle throwing the ball at times. Jeremiah Love and Riley Leonard on the ground, though, very, very impressive this year. Both have over 100 carries. They're averaging well over 6 yards a pop. And between the two, Christian, they got 25 touchdowns on the ground this season. So Notre Dame wants to establish the run. And they've been doing it up until this point, so I find it hard to believe not to believe that coming into this game. At wide receiver, it's hard to tell who kind of the main guy is here, maybe which isn't a bad thing. Bo Collins, Jaden Greathouse, and Mitchell Evans have 20 catches on the year. One thing I noticed about Notre Dame, though, over the past several seasons, they don't seem to either recruit the type of wide receiver or they don't get the type of wide receivers that put up huge numbers. I mean, I'll ask you a question here. When's the last time Notre Dame's had a 1,000-yard receiver?
It's been a while. I can't really recall.
Okay. I do have the answer to that question, Christian. It's 2019 Chase Claypool. It's been a while. Oh. Moving on, though, the defense, as you said, it's been really good. They give up 11.4 points per game. That's 3rd best in the nation, 6th in total defense. They're 43rd against the run. They're 2nd against the pass, only giving up 150 yards per game, which is a good thing. because Army is dead last in passing offense here. So with that being said, man, Notre Dame's going to have to slow down this Army rushing attack that ranks, as you mentioned, number one in the country, Christian, with 334 yards per game. And get this stat. Yeah, as I said, Army averages 334. Second best behind them is Central Florida with 262. So Army has quite the advantage on the ground. I mean, that's pretty much all they do. Like I said, so Notre Dame's going to have their hands full here. As far as this prediction goes, man, I thought about this a lot over the weekend because I knew we were going to do this game, and I'm happy it's going to be played in a bowl. I'm happy both teams are rated, obviously. I think if Notre Dame gets to an early lead here, it's the end for Army, right? They're not going to throw their way back into this game. I think everybody knows that. I think if you're Army, you want to kind of do what you alluded to, time of possession, be able to establish the run if you can against this Notre Dame, defense. But man, I just think Notre Dame's too much. I feel like we've kind of seen this game a little bit this year with the Navy Notre Dame game. I do think Army is a better team than Navy. I will say that. But I have Army 14, Christian, Notre Dame 31.
Yeah, so I think Army has a bye week, coming into this one, as I recall it right. The game's played in New York, which, the West Point is located in, New York, obviously. I think a lot of things factor into this, and I think a lot of it to me points towards Army. Give me Army 28, Notre Dame 24.